The beers are more of a sponsorship for catalog music, I think.
Oh, okay.
Or I think it's more of like just Marty's friend.
Yeah.
Someone that Marty knows makes I don't know if he makes the
Ether?
beers or works for Ether Brewing, or I don't know exactly what the story is there. But sponsorships for us, I mean, we'd love to. We haven't really looked into it. I produced the podcast a while ago for a place that I worked for previously, and they eventually got some sponsorships, and like nothing really came of it. So it's also like it can be a lot of. I don't want to spend heaps of time hunting one down, and then it's kind of all for nothing, if that makes sense.
Well, a big tip. We've had a bit of, I guess, which I was quite disappointed about. One of the Kenyan girls, she's got a podcast. So I offered a very minimum sponsorship where, $100 a week, plus we'll give you food every time you hosting someone. Just have the food on the show, talk about it, plus access and discounts to the restaurants when we open, and like events that we go to, partnered events and stuff like that. And she just had to cover. The biggest part of the sponsorship was for her to cover the fashion show that we had the year before. But then she was up for it, and then I think, again, like, you've got a lot going on.
Yeah.
She just never committed to covering the fashion show, so nothing ever came from that. But
it's also, in regards to sponsorships, like, it's pretty easy to become, I guess, a sellout with sponsorships. Like, I'd prefer to have something that, like, if a brand that we actually liked or a product that we really used sort of approached us, that'd be awesome. It'd be like, there's so many podcasts where there's just like thrown in ads, and you can just tell, like, obviously they don't use the product, and it's like, I'm all for people making their money and like putting ads on podcasts, like, do what you got to do. If we get the opportunity to do it, I'm happy to. But morally, I'd love to
do. I think potentially in the long term, it will definitely be a great thing for you guys. And the fact that you already know how you don't want to sell out and you don't want those advertisements on your platform, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we're recording, but if you guys listen to Diary of CEO.
I just said let's make this episode like the Diary of CEO.
Yeah, we're going to quiz you like that.
So with him, all of his sponsorships is smaller businesses or brands that he invests in, and then he talks about them on the platform. So he's a lot more comfortable about talking and advertising those platforms, because obviously he's got shares in it and what's not. But also, it's like you're saying, he's not just advertising something that he doesn't know, or just for the sake of the cash. Some of them don't even make the money to pay him yet because he's already wealthy, but just for him to be attached to that brand. So it's a two-way. And always, if you do get the offer ever, just make sure you have the conversation. Like, it's a business deal, so you want to be able to sit down and go, this is what we want, and this is what we give you.
It's like, that's also, I suppose we don't really know what we'd want from a sponsorship right now. Like, I guess I'd consider Catalog as kind of sponsoring us now by giving us their location every week, right? Like, Marty lets us shoot here, which I know podcast studios cost quite a lot if you went to, if we were hiring one every week out of our own pocket. So that's kind of like a sponsorship off the bat. And me saying that is the reason I'd want a sponsorship for something that we believe in, is I'd also want to genuinely help that company as well. So something we hoped with this podcast is setting it here and like shouting it out every week is to hopefully get a few more people in the door and just get people knowing about it. So as long as we can get another product or another whatever that we kind of feel the same way about and we want to help as much, then I'm all for sponsorships. What about you? You want to get paid for this?
Yeah, of course.
We don't make money for this just yet. There's also like the one you were considering sponsoring, like, did it have much of a following at the time, or?
Not
really.
really.
I feel a little bit insecure about approaching people when we're not, hitting 10,000 listens every week or anything.
That is very natural. That is normal. That's also me, and I always blame myself for that, because I always say this is why I'm still where I am, and I'm not where I want to be.
Why not asking questions?
The sooner you do it, the better. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? You go back to your investors and go, look, I fucked up. I didn't think it will turn out this way, but, you can either give us another chance, or we just, we'll stop it here. Like, you can't go wrong with sponsorship, like, well, asking to evolve your business or get your business or your project to the next level, you can't go wrong.
Do you think investors or entrepreneurs, business owners see podcasts as a good opportunity?
Oh, now, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep. I mean, how else are you going to advertise or market? I mean, podcast is just next level of your social media. But as you're saying, people still view podcasts as platforms where no one would go on and talk about, especially when you have people who have knowledge in their area. They won't go up there and talk about something they don't understand or they don't know.
Yeah.
So it's trusted source of advertisement where whoever that follows you trust any business that comes on board.
Yeah.
Because you put them on, and then the business trusts you because you have followers who, when you speak about them, they follow them. So it's just I guess a more stronger relationship compared to just social media and hoping that someone likes the filter you use and the picture you put up and the wording that you attach.
100%. Now, I think I'd love to introduce you before I have another follow-up question to that. So, Raph, you haven't said too many words tonight. Introduce our lovely guest. You've known Sam much longer than I have, so you could probably do it much better justice than me. How did you guys meet? What was the go?
Yeah, we met when before we even started Dojo. This was like 3 years ago, I think. And I was working at a camera hire shop, and I was just trying to call some local businesses and get some work for myself. And I gave you a call, and then I came in to meet you, and we proposed some different advertising ideas. And what
was Sam's business at the time?
Uh,
That was when you were working at Wau Kitchen, or running it, which is an Afro-fusion restaurant in Kangaroo Point, which is a pretty cool place.
Yep.
And
drove past it a lot.
Yeah, yeah, good location. Maybe not for parking.
No.
But it was a great place, good vibes. And yeah, we ended up making a cool ad, and then I filmed a few little events there as well. And that's kind of where I got into the African community with filming those sort of projects. I didn't know anyone in those communities.
Oh, really? So kind of like before Sam, you weren't doing that at all?
Yeah, that's where that all started.
Even like the Ethiopian thing here? That was after Sam?
That didn't really lead to anything.
Okay.
That was just a small little gig.
The reason I wanted to introduce you a little bit as at least the owner of Wau in relation to the conversation before, I'm just interested in the sponsorship thing again. As a restaurant owner, how did you kind of think that would benefit you? Because obviously you might, like you said, you'll have people talking about the restaurant, it might make people go there, but a restaurant's a very local thing.
Yeah.
So what was your thought process behind that?
I mean, as one, all of my businesses, which I've got a couple of them, they're not making enough money for me to call them businesses. Again, going back to the self-esteem, and if I believe in that, but generally it's a community concept. So businesses, for me anyway, businesses are community. So it's just a small community. So whatever business you have or you're part of is a community, and it's think of it as if you're president of a certain country, and how countries operate is that there is no country in the world that is completely apart from Wakanda, which is not a real country. There's no country in the world that's closed off from the rest of the world. Everyone have to be open to the rest of the world in terms of whatever you've got. So we operate on the, I guess, exchange platforms. We've got oil, you've got fresh water, we've got, forest, you've got, gas, and we exchange that in return for whatever. So basically, when you're running a business, from my experience, that is essentially
same mindset.
Yeah, it's that you're running your business is the country that you're responsible for, and your job is to, I guess, outsource as much as possible to make sure your country is the strongest and grows to the highest level possible.
Yeah.
So basically, how I came to that is I reckon I'm very, very lucky in terms of the kind of friendship that I have, the friendship circle that I've got, a very strong business mindset, and also just my business mentor in general. So my business mentors are people with multi-million dollars business or restaurant empires, so they know the restaurant industry in and out, and they're people that I'm able to call up, when COVID kicks in and go, fuck, what do I do now? And they go, well, calm down, this is what you can do, and this will help you, and you should try that. So
how did you build these relationships? Because that's what everyone
needs. I know.
Business needs.
It's a when.
Is it a matter of like asking the company that's too big to sponsor you kind of thing? Are you reaching out to people, asking them directly to be your mentor kind of thing, or are you?
Yeah, well, it started off as a confident thing. First you got to be confident enough to ask for it. So, most of my business advisors is people I've worked for in the past. Okay. So all my ex-bosses that I've worked for, I opened, other restaurants for, I'm able to go back and have a conversations with them. And
is it because you respect them because you've seen them in action?
Yep. And also, the borderline honesty that we've always had with each other, I guess, in terms of I've worked with so many restaurants, and everyone I've ever worked with, they always knew that I've never had any goals to stay in their business forever. So, we've always talked about, what are you going to be doing, man? Potentially I'm opening up my own restaurant. When is that? I don't know. It could be this year, next year, whenever I'm able to.
You go from having your own business for a while to then being employed for a bit.
Yeah.
Coming back, starting a new project again. Yeah. Giving yourself a bit of time to refresh.
And being open to, I absolutely hate working for other people, but being open to put that aside and go, I still don't know this, and go back. I'm working for Felons.
Yeah.
But do you find when you start again, you feel more excited?
Yes.
Because I think you were a bit
and
burnt out.
I try to never work for the same company twice.
Yeah. Right.
It's
like a chapter you close.
Yeah. And I've worked for places for 1 week.
1 week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One place I've worked for 1 day.
I've done it, like, I won't name the people I've done it for too, but it's like, I'm just a big believer of like, don't waste your time. Like, don't make yourself unhappy, and also don't waste their time.
Yeah.
Like, if you stay 2 weeks longer than you were going to, it just means that they've trained you for 2 weeks longer. It's just, they'd rather you leave on day 2
a lot of resources
than like
go
day
in
9,
there.
It's I'm a big believer in that. Bosses say it too. I'm sure you've heard the phrase like, hire slow, fire fast.
That's it.
Which,
That's it.
Do you believe in that?
Yeah, I do. And that's it, and that goes with the sponsorships is always, biggest thing, and I'm really only just starting to discover this about myself is that, and for a while I didn't know. And again, Diary of CEO talks about it a few times, and you got to know who you are in terms of the business, whether you're the starter, you are the guy that's gonna keep it going, and I've realized that I just started, I can't last because I get bored really quickly. So the sooner I get in, get it set up, get it to a point, pass it on, and try and move, which I've struggled with and I'm still struggling. But once you know that, once you master that, then you have this mindset of, okay, well, I probably don't want to be running this business for the next 6 months or 1 year. What else do I have to do? Man, Hilton Hotel could be a great sponsor that we can have, because they can potentially pay me out, within 6 months from now, and we can hire someone else to run this for us. Or I can get paid from it so that it doesn't feel like work, and I can go off and try and do something else. But you try to never think of, what if Hilton says no? It's just because once you try Hilton, and the thing is, the bigger the brand or the company or the person that you ask to come and sponsor you, I guess the more you gain from them, even if they say no for their sponsorship, because they know, most successful people I've ever knew, they never just say no and leave it at that. They will say no, but here's another way to try. And that's how you learn. That's how, okay, well, I didn't see it that way. And then you try the other way that or they will say, it's at the end of the day for them, it's that if they can mentor you and not sponsor you, it's also a great way, because if you take the mentorship and turn that into something great, it could potentially be a lot bigger than a sponsorship.
Yeah, and it can help the community overall.
Yep.
What age did you start your first business? To me, you seem like you've always been in business since you were a kid.
Well, I've attempted business, but that was more
even just an attempt, even like doing the smallest thing.
Yeah, I've sold frozen water, which like the frozen ice cream. So basically just flavored water. Yeah.
How old was that?
I've sold that back home when I was around 6, 7.
Yeah. So you started.
I've attempted cleaning people's shoes. Because I was like, I'm sick and tired of this house. I'll do my own thing else. So I got together some, because it's a business back home. It's cleaning shoes, or back then it was anyway. Yeah. You go. Like I think here you only see them on the movies. At the train station. Yeah. Where I'm from anyway, it was just you can sell plastic bags.
People do that in a lot of countries. I've seen them do that in Italy and other places as well.
So I attempted that as well. That only lasted for 2 days. The ice cream didn't go so well because I took someone's stock. And went for a really long walk. Didn't sell anything, so ended up half of the stock melted and I ate some of it. And
you ate, don't eat your own supply.
Your first mistake earlier.
Yeah, that's it.
So
that's it.
Yeah.
Do you plan to just try running whatever business for the rest of your life, sort of thing, or until you retire?
Knowing myself, retirement is not in the plans. I don't see myself retiring.
Yeah.
But running and just I see myself just potentially opening a couple of more businesses. I do have a number in my head that I'm very close to. I mean, they're not as successful as they should or where they are up there, but they're pretty close to the number that I want to stop at.
Well, on the opposite hand, like what's been the biggest success so far?
Yeah, what was the first anyway? It sounds like Wau might have been
the second.
Okay.
Yeah, the first was A+.
Yeah.
A+ has been
around for a while.
Alive since 2012 was our first ever event.
Tell us a bit about A+.
So A+,
right?
is short for African Creative Hub. And A+ was just basically inspired by back again 2012. We never had any African fashion events in Brisbane anyway, and I was quite disappointed. At the time I was studying, I was into my fourth, I guess, diploma going into. So I've attempted studying civil engineering. Wasn't as fun. And then I left that and worked for one of my business advisor at the moment, or one of his partner companies as a drafter for about a year. That wasn't as fun. Went back to school and attempted doing hospitality and tourism. Got to a point which was
Were you
just
always
enough.
into food though? Growing up and like...
Not really. I love food, but it's not my first passion.
Even now?
Even now.
All right.
But I really enjoy the people aspect of food. And I feel like that's, apart from music and arts and culture, culture kind of, wraps all of that up. But food seems to be the one thing that kind of, it's almost the bloodline of human.
But don't you think race. What's different with most chefs is they're kind of just in the back and they don't socialize? When I went to Wau Kitchen, like you're always sitting around talking to people, a lot of your customers there.
Yeah, I mean, and that is it. That's why I'm in it. I guess to an extent, I kind of got pushed to that space. Obviously, I would have rather been in the front, talking to customers and what's not.
Yeah, you just couldn't find anyone who could cook like you.
Couldn't find anyone who can cook like me.
It's pretty rare.
And then, so I was really forced into the the kitchen. But in saying that as well, I wasn't too bad. Like early on, from my first job, I knew that, you know, hospitality was going to be it. And I worked at McDonald's for 5 years. And
5 years there.
5 years at McDonald's.
What did you learn from McDonald's?
Couldn't shine shoes for 2 days.
Yeah.
But you worked at McDonald's for 5 years.
It's a training
McDonald's
ground,
was
isn't
very
it?
easy. Looking back, and ever only actually, McDonald's was for me. McDonald's was like a playground because you know.
I saw a lot of successful people start at Macca's.
Yeah. I have to say, out of a lot of places that I worked for, McDonald's have a very has a great management and training
because of those
procedures.
reasons.
So if
they
you want to
run a
learn,
tight ship.
And
like, funnily enough, one of the people I worked for last, his first job, he's opened a few businesses now. His first job was McDonald's, and it gave him his first opportunity to like have a business negotiation because he was 15 at the time, still in high school, and he was like foreign people in like their 30s were coming in, and because he was 15, he was being paid less than the minimum wage, and he's training these 30-year-old men who are coming in, don't know how to like do anything, getting paid more than him kind of thing. So he went to his boss at 15 and was like, this doesn't make sense, I should be getting paid more than them kind of thing, and they actually gave it to him. They gave him a raise, and they're like, yeah, makes sense. So it's like, it also seems like they're maybe a little bit open to helping you, and like
and I mean, look, if and it's always obviously McDonald's, and then ever since, for me anyway, personally, it's I've always, I guess, was able to, from McDonald's, I knew like any job or company I went into, what I was looking for. So it was very easy for me to be able to go, yep, I want to work. And a lot of it was, okay, I want to learn this now. I want to learn that now. And I've never actually, you know, I've worked as a dishie. I've worked on food trucks. I've worked at McDonald's.
You're just one of those people that's had like 50 jobs.
Pretty much. And so when it comes to the restaurant business, almost every different restaurant I've worked at, I had a specific skills that I wanted to learn. So I went and picked that up from that business, and then, you know, it was the next and so on. So I've got all-round knowledge when it comes to the business, I mean to the food business, from washing dishes at a very tiny 5-star high-end restaurants at South Bank to, you know, McDonald's cheeseburgers to front of house management to breweries. Would you say that Wau Kitchen was a bit of a risk starting, like, especially with that type of food in Kangaroo Point? You know, it was a risk, but there's things that there's things that you know deep down that is the right thing to do. And I guess I was, you know, and you kind of get cocky a little bit when you get it right one time, and then I just mean that because most of the African food's been around Maruka and a few other areas. And that's what I'm saying is that, you know, I knew what, you know, again, knowing everyone that I knew, talking to different people. You knew there was some market for it. I knew there was a market, and I understood what was needed, and I guess if there was, you know, if I had a purpose, it was always finding a niche. You know, it's that the Afro-fusion, we didn't have any in Brisbane, so I felt like that was something that would really need it, and it wasn't only just for the market, but it was also for the African businesses or the hospitality businesses in Brisbane. It was something different, and the whole thing was about just showing that it can be done. It's slightly more better than how we've been doing it for the last few years. So and that
definitely a bit of a different vibe.
And that was the same thing with the A+. It was that we don't have a high-end event. You know, events spaces or just getting into different spaces for African events. That until today, that's still a hustle. So with A+, it was just we can, like, you can do it. There's places, there's ways to do it. You know, it's the communications, the relationships that you built, and the concept that, or what is it that you're marketing, that you're putting on the table. How else are you gonna get people excited? So, yeah.
I know with the A+, some of the people that started off there are doing pretty well for themselves now. Like
oh man, I have to say A+.
Big achievement with that.
Definitely my biggest.
Like, what kind of platform has it provided for people? Like you say it's the biggest success. So like what was successful about it to you? Like?
What was successful about it to me is the platforms that people have made for themselves. So my biggest thing as a business owner, as a restaurant manager, as a team trainer, as a team leader, you know, my biggest success is when I provide people with the opportunity and they take it and run with it. And from A+, some of the biggest African models in Australia at the moment have started with A+.
That's awesome.
Before they, you know, when from our first show they would come out and they're like, you know, I've never done this before. They were just 15, so they weren't even allowed to be out. And then they, you know, they older siblings will drop them off, and then, you know, photographers come out that never done any African fashion shows. So when A+ put up a flyer everywhere and goes an African fashion show happening at South Bank at the Edge, we had calls from different photographers who've never covered that part of fashion before. So they're like, we're interested to come out. We want to go. How much? What's the registration fees? Can we come on? And we're like, man, no registration fees. In fact, we don't have photographers. We're glad you called. Come down and take pictures as long as you give us photos, we are happy. And then they come out and they take amazing photos, and then they go, oh, that person looks great, so I want to work with that person, and then they just build that relationship, and then before you know it, you're walking down the street and you go, wait, that's... And then, you know, when they see you next, or you get a message from someone going, oh man, from A+, these are the contacts or the relationships or the contracts that I picked up. I'm doing Gucci now because we started with A+. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool as well that some of those people have still come back to like your last show, even though they're doing really well.
And that's like it. They do amazing, and that's another thing, right? They do amazing, and
it's become
with
sort
the
of
last
like a
show
family.
was just about just come back if you're
back.
free.
Yeah.
And
but you had someone even flying from Sydney.
Oh yeah, she always does.
She
that.
loves
like
it.
She's amazing. She always does, and for me that's what success is. It's I guess it's extension of me. It's that, you know, I provide I provide the opportunity, and what you do with that opportunity is what success to me means.
Success is seeing the people around you succeed.
Yeah, I feel like you have this fatherly personality for people, sort of like, and like, or like a mentor, you could say. Even with me, you're always like wanting to give me different advice. But
very early, when we were talking about Dojo, Raph was always coming to me being like, I've just spoken with Sam, he's given me this idea, he's potentially spoken about this, and it really sounded like you. From the outsider, honestly, in the beginning, it sounded like, what is this guy? What does he want to do with everything? But then once I knew a bit, it was like, oh no, he's actually just like genuinely interested, because Raph always told me too how busy you always are. So I was like, how does this guy seem to like get back to the community, get back to little people like Raph, and like make sure that he's still going okay, you know, like.
I'm not that big, you know. Like
no, but it just means that always impressed me. Like it's a small thing that a lot of people don't do. Like, remembering small details as well. Like Raph would be like, you know, he'd say you brought up something from a conversation that was like 6 months ago kind of thing, and it's just little things like that are, I don't know, a lot of people don't.
And you care about people's like personal lives and stuff like that. Like from the moment we first did a shoot together, it wasn't like I'm some stranger, we're never going to talk again, sort of thing.
And you know, and that's it. It goes back to, you know, to business, is that I see business again like, you know, unfortunately I am from a country that's very torn up and very messy, and I don't know what's in there. I'd rather not know, because I just, you know, some things I see a lot of colors, but some things is black and white, and you know, so I see when I, you know, running a business, when I say I think I've never run a country before, But knowing from what I know and you know, going from trades and you know, the relationships and what's not, like as a business, it's not the business, it's not the brand, it's the people, it's your customers, it's your clients, it's, you know, it's and you can have a great business. Again, there is an extension, you know, of you as a person can influence what the business is like and how people feel about your business. But at the same time, there are businesses who are not run by the people who started it. So you know, depends on you as a person, and you genuinely what you wanna give it's what your business will gain. So going back to the sponsorships and friendships and just how you engage with people, it's all part of that business. For me anyway, it's all part of the process, and that's what I'm more interested about. It's I guess how the whole thing, you know, comes.
It's like putting good energy out there.
That's it.
You're only really going to get good energy back, right?
That's it.
It seems like that's what you're doing. But I kind of want to get back to A+ a little bit.
Yep.
And you said a part of wanting to start it, wanting to bring these things to Brisbane is because they weren't here before, no African fashion shows or anything like that. So how much difficulty did you have actually introducing it? Like pitching the ideas to venues, trying to get people in Brisbane to come along. How hard was that if it had never been here before?
I've got to say it was straightforward, really. Our first show was very easy, and I had the benefits of it's not here.
Right.
But
people were just like, oh, this is cool, this is new.
Yeah,
Let's
this
check
is
it
new.
out. Yeah.
And it was around the time where, you know, there were, you know, cool things up, you know, coming up, you know, like little hidden bars were popping up, you know, rooftops, places like the Edge at South Bank. That was, you know, that was just around the time it was maybe 4 or 5 years old. Then we probably need to check that. But it was just around the time where a lot of things are just starting to happen around Brisbane, but not enough, and it's not diverse enough, and I've got this thing where I've got to be the first to do it. And it was, look, our first show, 200 seats, we sold 250 because we just had people standing outside. We had the after party at one of the oldest.
Did you know did you know going into it you'd oversold it, or did you show up on the day and you're like, fuck, there's heaps of people here? Like,
I showed up on the day and going, holy fuck, there's a lot of people here. And I didn't really think what 200 people looked like and how to manage it, because I didn't have a team. The team I had was 2 designers. Yeah. And they had over 30 models, so they educate. So they went to school for designing. So everything. I don't do anything by the books. Like I'm like, fuck, books were just someone else's ideas that were put there. So how about write your own? That's me. Yeah. So I worked with 2 designers, close friends, and they're very good designers, who went to school and they just graduated. So their idea of a fashion show was completely different from what I was thinking a fashion show should be. So at the time I was watching Dolce & Gabbana, Louis Vuitton, which they were watching, but they were watching more mainstream fashion shows, you know. Dolce & Gabbana would have, you know, amazing flower trees and you know, a carpet runway, and so it was an art process. You know, I was watching Victoria's Secret's, you know, live performance on the runway. The girls were looking at just, you know, white runway, you know, white light, models walking straight, no fun. So we had a lot of fights during, you know, throughout. We actually never worked together again. But you know, that was my team. The 2 girls. I had a photographer who's created our A+ logo, and he's done a lot of our videography for like the first 2-3 years of A+. And then we had a DJ a promoter that come down from Melbourne, DJ Issa was still around, so DJ Issa was our DJ. So that was the team, pretty much. We built the venue, or well, the venue was there, but we decked out the venue ourselves. So I was out at Reverse Garbage, getting the curtains, and because I had a specific look that I wanted to pull. Ended up with a plain white runway, very plain fashion show, because we just fought a lot in terms of what looks we wanted, but we still had live performance, and we sold out the venue, and the edge was there, and they really looked after us. So that was a shock, that was a surprise, because at first I was like, oh, it's just gonna be 50 people coming, but you know what, it's not the money, it's what we want to pull off. That happened, and it's always like, okay, shit, 200 people, what's next? What's the next biggest venue we can get, and how far can we push it, and what can we do different?
Biggest turnout?
The biggest will have to be our 2018 the A+ Royalty Fashion Show, which is, we had it at the All Government House. I think that's still my favorite venue. We had three different runways running at the same time. We had carpeted. Basically, what Dolce and Gabbana do for their fashion show is I finally pulled it off, in 2018. So that was that, and amazing artists come through.
And your audiences are very different.
Our audiences are very different.
Like people of different ages, older audiences, younger.
Yeah. So we have a very diverse audience. Again, that's a plus, because for me, it's always trying to reach, like, it's great to have a niche. It's great to have a specific, every time I get asked, again, when I go out and trying to get the sponsors or get support, I always get asked, oh, who's your audience? And I'm like,
everyone.
Earth. Like people are my audience. I'm trying to educate. So
the last one that I shot was really cool. At someone's house.
Yeah,
it was a different
vibe. There was few things that needed work on, but it was good. I had a lot of fun with that one as well. Again, we were up putting the curtains up ourselves. The lighting. I don't know anything about lighting, and we.
All of a sudden, you were a professional on the day.
Are there any more grand ideas? Not that you have to share exactly what they are, but anything else that's sitting in the back of your head that you absolutely need to get out, or have you kind of scratched that itch now? Where's A+ sitting?
A+ is sitting in a very sitting on the wall as an artwork for now. I do, eventually the A+ will get incorporated into the Wau aspect of things when as we go on. But in terms of doing fashion shows or grand fashion shows anyway, the 100+ audience and 7 designers, and I don't think A+ will be doing that anymore. We may bring things down, and I'm trying to simplify things as much as I can. I really want to go back, especially with A+. I'm trying to go back to a space where it's very, I guess, private. And really concentrate on the art. Really concentrate on the I guess on the final product, where it's not for the masses. Maybe I will bring back A+ into the niche, the selected audience or what's not.
The VIP.
Yeah.
So how would you combine something like Wau, an Afro-fusion restaurant, with the idea of A+? When you say bringing it back in a sort of Wau operation, how does that happen?
Look, it's at the end of the day, how I see all of these, I guess, brands or businesses is it's all artwork, and I've been big in terms of the word fusion in the last few years. So I think I'll find a way. Together. Yeah. I'll find a way to do it. I don't want to say much.
You tell me some ideas. It's going to be good. It's going to be great.
So, but you'll see. I'm excited. I think I'm more in a recovery mode at the moment.
Yeah.
There are a few things, but going back into it, I'm very excited about what's coming
I'm excited. I know big things are to come.
Yeah.
But
You're killing him.
I'll find out off here. It's the audience that's like, ah, damn.
But yeah, something I really wanted to know was like, what's a side to all of this that no one sees? Like, what are the hard days? What are the difficult days? Or like the stuff that you don't want to be doing that you've had to do? Or if there's like even any examples of just days where you've been like, why am I doing this? This is too hard. From being a business owner perspective.
Look, they all come with their challenges. Like every business comes with challenges, and it's biggest thing. It's managing relationships for me again, because that's something that I'm more interested in.
With staff?
Is the relationship with staff, with
It sounds like you want to be like best friends with your staff. Have you had an issue with them not feeling the same way?
Not just best friends. It's who he's getting engaged to.
Oh, really?
His future wife.
Yeah. Well, my future wife, my fiance is my business partner, or she was on the board. She's not on the board anymore, but she's still business partner. She's still someone that I bounce some ideas from, just to make sure that they're safe. And as I've never ran into anyone that I've worked with or worked for me that is not a friend of mine. I mean, I do have some people say I'm very harsh when I'm at work. Few people cry and few people get and I feel like that's all part of the relationship, letting people go and
you have to be
telling people the truth and what's not. But even in saying that, a lot of few people that I've let go, and then I run into a couple of years later and they go, that was actually a good move. I was upset at the time, but that was a good move. People that that I've met cry or was not, I've ended up working with again somewhere else, where I've called them up and gone, hey, I've got this happening, are you interested to come on board? And they're like, yeah, fuck yeah, of course I'm coming. And I only
you don't
ever
fully cut people off.
Sorry?
You don't fully cut people off.
I don't. I can't. I don't know how to.
Yeah. You say it's not the right timing or whatever.
Yeah. And I also believe in things just overgrow. Like when a relationship overgrows, that just you kind of know. You just stop talking to each other, or so I do believe in things like we don't necessarily have to go the extra mile to cut things off. If something overgrow, and everything does, even as humans we die at some point. So it does, and I think I understand that very well, where I never have to, I don't ever feel like I need to tell someone, that, we're not friends anymore, or we can't talk anymore, or, and because, people say things, people do things, or what's not. But when you overgrow, you feel it, and that, that's it. It's just that
and
connection
is some of that struggle
anymore.
been from like waiting too long? Like,
sorry? Someone's
meant to have left and you like keep them on a few months more or something. Is that where some challenges have come from?
With like employee
with
wise,
staff and stuff like that.
That's a big thing. Again, obviously when you're people's people, which I think of myself as that, is that it's harder when you're running your own business as well, because you kind of always have this thing in the back of your head where this is like, we started the business for this, to look after people. So biggest mistakes that's definitely hurt the company, it's that I've let people around for too long. Like I didn't tell people, look, it's time to go. Which doing it for other people, other businesses that I've worked for, it's easier.
You can walk in the door and be like, no, you have to get rid of it right now. Like,
it's a lot easier for other people, but for me that was one of the biggest challenges, or is to be able to go, now look, we can't help you. Like try to train you and get you to see where we're trying to go as a team, but you just not getting it.
It's a tough thing of like, you don't want to take the business side personally, but you want to have like personal relationships within the business kind of thing, if that makes sense. But it's like there's still also comes down to competency at the end of the day and skill as well, which is like what is needed within a business. So
and also based on I guess the business capacity itself. I mean, I've worked for businesses that are big enough to be able to move people around. You know, you suck at this. Let's instead of just getting rid of you, let's shovel 100%. Things around and see if you can perform better on like that end of the business.
I've been a manager of I think 2 people. I had to fire one of them at one of my previous jobs, and that's how it started. Like we kind of got him in. He wasn't really doing the right thing. Like we didn't have him in the right position, I feel, and we kind of moved him around, like tried him out in a few different areas. He eventually didn't work, and like he was just the nicest guy ever, so it was so hard to like that's when it really sucks too. And he took it so well too. It was just like fair enough. Like, you're like, damn it. it's so, but then it's also moments like that when you're like, okay, at the end of the day, it's just it's something they have to take in stride as well. Like as hard as it is on our side, it's probably just as hard for them, and in a different aspect. Do you like getting fired?
Do I like? Yeah, I actually do, because I'm sitting there thinking every day I want to be doing my own thing. Like, just fire me.
I enjoy actually, you know, it's.
I don't think I've actually ever been let go. I've never been fired, but
probably shouldn't say this on. But how many times did I get fired? Well, it wasn't like fired. It was just, we don't have any more shifts for you.
That's the best way to put it, right?
Yeah.
It's the least hurtful way to hear it.
Yeah. Couple of them. I got that. I've worked for maybe 7-10 different restaurants around. Yeah. And 2 of them who've let go of me in the past one of them actually hit me up 2 years later. Yeah. Going, hey, how are you doing? Are you able to come through, and are you looking for work? I'm like, no, fuck. 2 years
you're
later.
Doing the same thing to people.
Actually,
I actually had a scenario where I wanted the boss to be upset at me, because I've done a lot of random jobs too. I was working at a bottle shop, and I was having a bad day, and I actually accidentally smashed like 10 bottles of wine. This was like some of the most expensive ones. I had to spend an hour just cleaning the floor, and I'm like, please don't pay me for today. Paid me at the end, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't deserve this.
Did you ever go back?
Yeah, I still worked there for a little bit, but
fair enough.
Yeah. Man. But doing jobs you don't like makes you appreciate your own sort of stuff way more, don't you think?
I think so. My biggest advice has always been like, if you don't know what you want to do, go do a random job. Yeah. Because as soon as you do something you don't want to do, you'll figure out more of what you do want to do.
That's it.
Like, you'll be closer to it anyway.
And also, I know like the human mind or your own mind can really, just not allow you to do that at all. Like you will struggle, but figuring out different ways of doing things is always been the best thing for me anyway. I've worked in places that I would register it on my phone. Gym. Like I'm
working out.
Yeah, I've just registered that I'm going in there. I'm doing this. Like, I've done it multiple times before, but at this point now I'm just going to the gym that I'm getting paid for. That's it.
Yeah.
And then you do that. For me anyway, I'll do that for a few days, and then it just becomes, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to the gym. And then before I know it is that, oh shit, I've achieved what I was trying to achieve here. Then maybe I can leave now or something.
Yeah. You've also managed the Ethiopian cafe.
Yep.
And pizza shop, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you like exploring different
I'm
cultures and cuisines.
I'm always interested in how different people, do their businesses, how they run their businesses, how they operate, and I'm always trying to learn as much as I can from different people as much as possible, because I just find education. I don't like school. I hate going
just
to
learn
school.
from experience.
Yeah. So if I'm on the field, I'm learning and I'm engaging with people and I'm getting to meet new people and it's the best way. Also, hence it made marketing for Wau a lot easier because, you know, people that recognize me from other places, you know,
you just
and recognize my
in
work.
The hospitality industry.
And recognize my work would always be, oh, you know, remember Samsun used to run blah, blah, blah. He's got his own place down the street from here now, and then they'll come down. Oh, you're here now. So, and then, again, doing stuff like the Afro-fusion, which is, again, new to the market.
Can you explain what fusion means?
Yeah. Well, fusion is just taking two different things and putting them together and creating something
what was the second
different
thing?
out of it.
Just well, more Australian or modern?
Two different African dishes. Or would that be considered Afro-fusion if you had something from like two different African areas fused together?
Yep, and that's pretty much exactly what we do.
Okay. Yeah.
So basically, our fusion aspect comes in multiple ways. One is two different dishes from two different
Indian
parts of the continent. Yep, we've got an Italian African fusion, an Italian East, specifically Italian Kenyan dish that we've infused together.
Interesting mix.
It's
some interesting mixes out
really
there. I've seen like Indian and Mexican food.
Yep,
Indie mix.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
And then what else is there? There's there's how we cook certain dishes. So how it's originally cooked. Yeah. So we attempt using a different method of cooking it. Or like, you know, an African way of cooking, I don't know, a steak or something, and then we'll try and find a different way of cooking it from other parts of the world. So that's another way of fusionizing our menu.
What's one of your dishes that you're most proud of? Do you feel like everyone that came into Wau, what did they have to try?
There's actually a few. There's not not one dish. Oh, actually, no. There's shaya.
Shaya.
And what's that?
Shaya is it's a Sudanese dish. So it's basically just slow cooked beef. You can use any meat really. So a slow cooked beef. So not to a point where it's falling apart, just to a point where it's still hold together.
Yeah.
And then it's fried in different herbs.
Nice.
And that's it.
Oh wow.
Yep. So very simple dish.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And a lot of people relates to it.
I actually didn't know that one was Sudanese.
Yeah.
Because I've heard they have in other places.
Yeah. Too. Yep. Yeah. And like the more you look, I've recently just found out that China does something very similar. Yeah. As well.
I think a lot of African foods are similar to Asian foods, aren't they?
Yeah. So that's I've got to say that's the biggest or the most popular, and then obviously your samosas, the samosas,
all the entrees and stuff.
The fried chicken.
You're just going to keep going through them all. Actually,
the fried chicken is interesting because I've created fried chicken for other restaurants in the past. Yeah. So it became when I was opening the restaurant, it became a little bit of obsession to create a different. I didn't want the same fried chicken that I've created for other restaurants to follow me to where I was going.
Secret recipes.
Yeah.
So what, you made it better.
I made it a lot better.
They would be really upset.
I mean, when you do it about 4 times, and this is like the 5th, and it's much better.
And you had some good drinks too.
Say fusion between, like bit of West Africa, Moroccan, and like just tiny bit of like East Africa. So it's like from west up, a little bit of arch there, and the fried chicken was definitely our top starter.
Giving some people in Brisbane some culture.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a good thing to do.
I mean, it sounds like you say food isn't your main passion. It sounds like you know so much about it. You've been so invested in it. What is your main passion?
Even when I talk to him, I'm always like, Sam from Wau Kitchen. I just associate you so much as like this chef.
My passion is creating. Just creating. I have so much respect, and for you guys, like the respect an appreciation I have for the two of you. It's you know, it's massive, you know, and you guys created something, you know, from when I met you first to like where you got to now. It's like that's it. Like that's what it's all about.
You like the consistency. Like someone could be really good, but if they don't continue,
then like, what's the point? What's the point? And that is my passion. Doesn't matter what it is. It's the ability to you know, create, you know, the ownership, the creation, the, you know, the think outside of the box. There's a solution to every single problem. There is no problem that you cannot solve.
Sometimes I get very upset. Like, I'm not a religious person, but I get very obsessed with the idea of the creator, which kind of obviously leads me to these like religious ideas, because it's like, well, who did create us, you know? But it's like, I'm the same way. Just no matter what it is, if you're passionate about it and you've made it, whether it's a painting, a poem, or like a woodwork thing that you've made, I'm so into that as well.
That's it. Yeah.
We need more of it.
We do need a lot more of it, and I think we would be in a much better place if people would, you know, I guess not concentrate, but invest a bit more in their creation side of things.
It's a bit of advice for someone starting out on their journey, creating anything. If they want their own business or fashion show or anything like that.
Well, I think you had someone here say it before, just do it, and let's not give Nike any credit. But you know,
do you think do you need to study business?
No. I mean, look,
honestly, anyone that thinks it's hard to start a business, go to the bank, get an ABN, open a business account. That's literally that's it. Yes, you got to decide what you want to do. There's obviously a few more layers to it than that. But like, the rudimentary starting a business is very simple.
You could probably learn heaps from a business course, but you learn more from the first day, actually.
I actually like what you said, how a lot of your mentors are people you worked for, because I've watched countless YouTube videos, seen tutorials, and you hear the same sort of advice and it doesn't really stick in. But I've worked for local bosses who are doing pretty well for themselves, not like Bezoses of the world or Zuckerbergs or anything, but you actually see it in person. You see how they're applying things, you see how they treat their staff, their team, you see how they respond to problems, you see all of that. And that's what, that's how I think you get experience too. Like, my advice has always been, like, if you want to start a business in an industry, you go work in that industry a little bit first for someone at least, to see how it gets run. Like, everyone's going to do it differently, but
everyone will do it differently, which will give you a different perspective. The thing is, you know, school is great, and please go to school. But, you know, books will only training books will only give you a specific, you know, view of the business. I truly
believe in education, but don't think that education alone is going to get you anywhere.
No. It's,
while you're getting educated, put it to practice.
Put it to practice. Go and you know, and again, make relationships. Because you know, successful owners, again, get to a point where all what they want to do next is pass on as much information to the next person as possible, but not just a designed information that they can just pass to everyone. I mean, they can write a book for that, but they would have a customized information for you. Like, if they know you, if you have conversations with them and they know you personally, usually the advice that you get from them would be you can use them all over throughout your life, not just in your business, but all across the board. So it's, again, relationships, and if you want to start a business, again, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Bankruptcy.
But you know, at the end of the day, anything, and look, yes, please don't get yourself into that space, but money is money, right?
Like, you can always try and start again.
You can
fail. Once I stopped viewing money as like a finite resource, or as something that I needed to hoard, it seemed to become so much more, like, it just came more to me.
That's it.
Which it's a mindset thing. It's obviously like growth and
but the sooner you understand, especially as you're getting into the business, the sooner you understand that, the better, because then you really get to understand that money is just a tool. Money, it's the camera that you have. So, you know, you'll use the camera to a certain point, and then you'll get to a point where you want to get a different camera that suits your next move. You know,
Yeah.
money is just a hammer to hit in the nail for for that table or bench that you're building. It's not something that's meant to be kept. You know, money moves around. You know, if you are really as passionate as you say about starting the business or your business, you must understand that money is meant to move around as well. So if you are gonna get it, but to get that money, there's gotta be something that you're passionate about, and you gotta get up and do it. You can't let the money hold you back, because again, if you have the money, you probably won't be thinking about the business idea you're thinking about.
Well,
So
a quote that I've heard that I really like is, the best resource money can give you is time and freedom.
That's it.
Time and freedom to invest it into more, do what you want to do. That's kind of how I view it now. Like, it's whether you want to get more money to spend more money on the next expensive camera, or
just to be able to say no to jobs.
Yeah, or whether you want to
like
buy a
that's it.
house or retire, like whatever it is, it's just, or whether you want to raise your own business so you don't have to go into work every Monday. It's the freedom of that, you know, like it's a powerful thing.
I agree.
I think people get scared of it. Were you ever scared of money? That's an interesting question. Money did I came from quite a poor background. So there was a time where money, I suppose, did scare me, because it was kind of like, I suppose I did think of it as quite a finite resource at one point. Were you ever in that same boat?
I'm still scared of money, and only because I can't manage money.
Interesting.
I don't have attachment to money. Like, I use money. Like, as soon as I've got it, it's like it's gotta go somewhere. I've got bills to pay. I've got this to get. So like and I'm still like, there's bills I haven't paid yet. So money, it's always, every time money comes in, it's, oh shit, money is gone again. So I don't have the attachment with money. Like, I'm scared of money, because like when you don't have it and you've got things to sort out, it gets to your head. You know what I'm saying? Because now you got to think, oh fuck.
Yeah.
You know, cause
especially when you got to get married.
Mate, you have no idea. And the last few years that I've had a very interesting last 3 years. Yeah. So and you kind of sit back and go, if I had the money, will half of the shit that I'm going through, will I still be going through it? But yet, I don't have enough money to kind of sort a lot of them out, so maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it's all happening for a reason. So, keep driving.
I always figure with that mindset, there'd be another problem.
Yeah.
If you had the money to solve that problem, there'd just be another problem.
More money, more problems. Don't
like,
they say that?
Pretty much, but I've always found it's kind of like when your struggle is money, for some reason you don't really worry about too much else except for getting money, and then once you have the money, you do start worrying about all these other things.
It can lead to more creativity in a way, like
you know.
And
it just holds you back. I mean, starting A+, I didn't have any money. I think it was like one Centrelink payment that I put towards that, and then
we had like nothing when we started Dojo either. Like, we had the gear we had at the time was basically our investment into it, and we kind of just started from the ground. Like,
that's it. Yeah. And if you had the money, you would be somewhere else. Like, you
hardly even talked about money at the time. Like, let's just do.
I was probably scared of it at the time, to be honest. It probably seemed like this thing that was still like I don't know, a goalpost at the end of, or some sort of finish line, I guess. I think it might have been that. I guess I kind of thought there'd be a time where I make money and then I'm finished. It wasn't like a certain number or anything, but then it's like, no, that's not how it has to be. It can come in and out. You can use it here to help communities here. You can use it for personal reason, for whatever. So it's, I don't know. My mindset's definitely changed on a lot ever since starting this business, which is annoyingly one of my old bosses when I first started this business. He's a very like right-wing man. And he was like, you're going to start caring about tax. You're going to start caring about all these things. And I was like a 20-year-old kid being like, shut up, old man. You know. And I think about him every now and again. I'm like, damn, he was right. I sit there thinking about the exact things he said I was going to be thinking about now.
In that subject, if you guys had an offer for this podcast, what's the price on buying it outright?
Oh, damn.
Then, and you're not part of it, you've got nothing to do with it. Maybe you can just sit on the board and look nice. But beside that, it's someone else that owns it. Someone else makes all the decisions.
I don't think we would do that.
Someone else.
It'd be so hard, hey. Like, yeah,
They'd have to look like us, sort of.
I mean, I suppose the podcast is easy because we could just go start another one, easy as. If there's no like.
I mean,
NDA,
if he gets bought out, you probably won't have any rights to have the same name, or you potentially can't even do another podcast for another 5,
no, but it's like, honestly,
10 years.
We've thought about it with the dojo. I don't know actually know how much you've thought about it, but I've thought about it with the dojo.
I thought about if we were to sell it today to someone.
Yeah, like if someone just came up and offered me like $2 million for it, I'd have a hard time saying no. But it's like, because I love dojo and I love what I've created, but I also feel like if someone else took it off me, I could start something else, you know? So it's like, I don't know. And without going into detail, we had between us when we first started this, we said we didn't want any other hands in it. Like we wanted to be 50-50 stakeholders. And now like things have happened, forks are in the road where like that's probably not going to be the case forever, right? So things change. Maybe ask us again in a couple of years.
We'll always have different views, different things to say.
Well, advice on that, don't get too attached to the brand. You know. Yeah. Again, it's all like you're supposed to let things grow.
Just when you were saying that, I was like, start crying.
I get attached. I get attached.
Well, it's like even now when I hear like when we first chose the name Dojo, it was just like a name, you know. And now it's like when I hear that word, even when it's not associated with us, but when a family member asks me like, "How's Dojo going?" or something, or like someone who hasn't spoken to me in ages, like, "I saw this on the Dojo page." It's like it's an entity.
Yeah,
now. It's a thing.
It's got
now.
a life of its own.
People see us in the street and go like Dojo, like I'm wearing it right now. You know, like it's a bit of it. So it's a weird one. Yeah. But again, like you're saying, you can't. Yeah. At the end of the day, we're the ones who have created the identity. So. We could sell the name and make a new identity somewhere else.
Start from scratch.
Yeah.
Make it a bit different.
You want to offer us some millions, do you?
No, I can't afford that kind of money. But, it's an interesting question because, when you start something from scratch, and I've started few now.
Have you sold any off?
No.
No?
No, again.
Would you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just not in the position.
Again.
They're not in the position to. Yeah. Well, that's honestly with Dojo too. No one would rightfully buy a Dojo off us right now. Like,
maybe.
Well, that's the interesting part though. It's that like when do you decide it's in the position to get sold?
Well, I know in some media, we're kind of getting in the weeds here, but I know like for some media agencies, it's like based on their retained clients. So say we make 15K a month off clients, they'll total that for a year. I don't know, base it off that kind of thing. When you don't have that, I don't know how they'd value it, because I wouldn't personally, like, our gear isn't involved in the business. So if they bought the business, they wouldn't have the gear. They'd literally just have the name, right?
Oh,
so
okay.
It'd be an interesting one. I don't know. This might be boring for the listeners, but
no, I mean, but with that as well, it's that I lost my trail there. The value of like and going back to like being attached to it and growing it, the value of it can change. Mm-hmm. It's that you sit at one moment or one day you go, well, I don't see what anyone can pay for this or what's this worth. But the next thing is that, remember that shifting the mindset idea is that if that's the plan, then it's a matter of shifting the mindset to going, okay, well, how do we build this into something sellable? Mm-hmm. Then you'll switch gear into things get a bit intense. Then you're now working extra. If you're already doing 24 hours, you're gonna have to find a couple of extra 5 hours somewhere else.
We talk about having different branches in like one section for this sort of work, one section for that.
Yep.
And it's like, I guess realistically, the kind of like what you were saying in the very beginning is like, I think the next avenue for our growth is without giving too many details away, like growing within a community, investing in a community, being invested in by a community, growing that way.
Yeah.
So kind of like, I suppose, without knowing exactly what you're planning on doing with like Wau and A Creative, bringing them together, that kind of thing. I think bring other entities together, build it that kind of way.
Yeah. just
then it might grow to a point where people do just want to buy it outright. But who knows?
Well,
who knows?
It's what's on your board and how you want to treat it, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's also being open to just listening to other people and like where they see our business.
Yeah.
Because it's all good in us projecting our business in a certain way, and I think we should always be the ones who like push it and drive it in that certain way.
Yeah.
But hearing what other people might see, like other potential that they might have in mind is becoming more and more apparent to me anyway. Apparently important.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that saying, like, go as far as you can see, and when you get there, you'll see further. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, we have no idea who we could meet next year or the year after, 10 years from now, what's available. We can only see what we know.
You both, I think, from what I see, from the outside, you're on the right track.
It feels like it sometimes.
Yep.
It truly does.
Yeah.
Do you, like, have you had those? We should sort of start wrapping up, but I guess like one thing. Do you feel it in your gut when something's going right? Because there's definitely moments that I've just felt like we're on the right course.
Yes. Again, going back to, I've worked through places for one day and just didn't come back the next. How
do you know when it's a good idea to follow your gut or not? Or do you just always trust that little feeling?
I always trust that, and I think it's one of those things that comes with self-confidence as well. Is that I always think if I'm doing a certain amount of work towards whatever it is, then I'm right.
As long as you're putting your time in, you're putting the effort in.
Putting time in, putting effort in,
the results will come.
Putting energy, the results will come.
Yeah.
Obviously when you are sharing with other people and other people are involved, there's that, opportunity to kind of see what the next person's gut's telling them and you kind of weigh the options out. But, for me, it's always been, I really think this is how we're going to go. And then I take that approach and I go with it.
Now that you're, like, when you're getting employed, I'm sure you'd be going for bigger and better companies to work for. Like, you wouldn't be going backwards.
That's an interesting one because based on how or what happens with Wau in the next couple of weeks, which is, or I guess, got a couple of meetings tomorrow, and based on how that turns out, potentially I might stay where I am for a bit longer, or I'm gonna probably pick something small and then just go there as part-time in the background and concentrate more on making sure like the fusionizing of Wau, A+, all these other brands come together.
I think a lot of people are missing your food.
I do get those messages. I get the messages, the emails, the what, and we still do I still do the caterings. I still get the random orders. Through Christmas we did a couple of events. There's the red carpet event coming up, so we're doing that as well. Yeah. So people still reach out and the ones.
You're just in the background. You're not gone. You're just in the background.
No, just in the background. We just don't have a space to seat people. We got, unfortunately, obviously, and again, it's all learning lessons. Biggest thing I'm learning is turning people down. That was a problem at our last venue, is that we just wanted to, anyone that popped at the door, we were like, yep, we'll seat you, yep, we'll make, like, we always made space for everyone, but having to be closed for the last couple of years and just only pick and choose certain orders or whatnot, it was very good, because then I was able to say, no, we can't do this, or no, we can't do your event, or we can't deliver to you, or we can't do this. Maybe you can wait till we open. We can't take 10 people because we don't have a physical venue. So,
I'm inspired by your attitude of always learning, always wanting to know more.
I mean, you can't stop. No matter how old you get,
I definitely agree.
And as long as you're open to that, you are able to, everything that happens around you, to an extent, it's a learning curve. And once, I guess once you get to a point where you see, like, there's a million ways of doing one thing, and whatever happens or whatever you're going through, if you have the mindset of there's a solution to this somewhere, I just need to invest a bit more energy or concentrate a bit more, you know, it's a lot. Things become slightly easier than what they are usually. And don't get me wrong, nothing ever gets any easier. You know, the higher you go, the harder, you know, the more challenging it gets. But you just learn from that, and you take the next challenge on and see what you can do with it.
That's it. I think we're.
Yeah.
I'm excited for 2024 for Dojo. I'm excited for Wau. Hopefully
Me too.
We can keep updated. Where can people keep updated with you and with Wau?
Currently, Instagram. Instagram is the best place. Again, based on what happens tomorrow, the website should be up very soon. So we've been testing that out, and then, you know, we'll be offering event spaces up to 250 seats, restaurant space up to 70 seats, so much bigger. We are changing the concept. We're going 100% or 90% wood fire, because the fried fish, we can't do it on the wood. So we're going wood fire style. We are fusionizing it with a wood fire pizza oven as well. So that's coming in. We're doing a bit of, you know, record player. We're getting some help from here as well with some records and stuff to basically just create the space.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Marty's definitely the right guy. Shout out to our big man Marty.
Yeah, shout out to Marty and Catalog Music in Fortitude Valley.
We couldn't do this without him.
No. He's another one who's honestly just all about community too, which is an amazing thing. It's an idea that I feel like we keep on pushing down people's throats, but it's an idea that I feel like everyone kind of needs to grasp on. It's so important. But any parting words from anybody?
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks for this. As I said, this was my practice podcast.
Yep. So. Thank you so much for coming quite last minute.
That's fine.
What do you mean? It was a full day's notice. Pretty good.
Yeah. And this is our week. No, we're catching up on Saturday as well.
Yeah.
So that should be fun.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Busy days. On Saturday. Am I going to be there?
You should come along.
Aren't we doing something on Saturday?
After.
Okay, right. Yeah. Maybe I will.
Dinner,
see what I'm
man.
up to.
Come over. I'm still on like holiday mode anyway. Well, I'm working at Felon's, but I'm still on my holiday
Sam's
mode.
cooking. You should definitely come along.
we're gonna cook some stuff, and
Awesome.
Also we're gonna be here on Monday. Monday evening,
happening.
and I'm bringing more food as well. We're doing a little. We just lost a friend last year, so and his birthday is this Monday, so we're just gonna do like a little cake and just have some food for some friends.
That's beautiful.
So if you guys are free, please pop in as well.
Yeah, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Will do. That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for coming along.
No problems.
It's been great to get to know you and talk to you.
The
Hope
same.
you've had fun.
Oh, I did. This was a lot of fun. It's a lot less scary than I thought it was.